We ask our next speaker, Dr. Vishal Gole, who will be delivering his talk on marginal donors in deceased donation.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and fellow colleagues. Since living transplantation, in living donor transplantation, the priority is to protect the donor. I'll be talking about deceased donors and especially those who are marginal. So the topic of the talk is marginal donors in deceased donation. So the first slide, I would like to tell that the term marginal is not preferred nowadays because the term marginal itself means that there is some problem with the kidney and this can lead to poor acceptability by the patients as well as the program. So nowadays it's referred to as the expanded criteria donors or ECD. So all my talk will mainly tell about ECD and not the marginal donors. So this is how we will progress. So ECD kidney is generally defined as kidney whose relative risk of graft failure exceeds 1.7. That means there's a 70% higher risk of graft loss when we compare them to a reference group of ideal kidney donors or the standard criteria donors. These standard criteria donors are usually those who are between 10 to 39, who are non-hypertensives, don't have cerebrovascular disease as a cause of death, and whose creatinine is less than 1.5. So this is how the definition of the ECD donor came into being, and it's now defined as all donors over age of 60 and donors between 50 to 59 with at least 2 out of the 3 medical criteria, a history of hypertension, a cerebrovascular accident as a cause of death, and a pre-procurement creatinine of more than 1.5. So this is the universally accepted definition. Some of the centers can vary to this definition, but this is generally accepted all over the world. This is a diagram which nicely shows what an ECD donor is. ECD donor falls in one corner of the spectrum of patients who are all deceased donors. The SCD donors, the standard criteria donors, are usually the majority of the patients who are transplanted. We will not talk about donors after circulatory death or DCD. There's a small overlap between the ECD and DCD donors, and patients who have circulatory death are also expanded criteria. They have the worst outcome. So we'll focus mainly on the ECD donors. So why do we choose ECD kidneys? Seeing the data from India, we will not focus on the world data. Around 1.8 lakh patients suffer from renal failure each year, and roughly around 8,000 plus, probably around 9,000 plus transplants are done every year, which is a very, very minuscule amount, maybe around 3% of the entire patients. So the acceptability of transplants in India, if you look at the overall live transplants, we are one of the largest live transplant programs in the world. But if you look at the per million population, we are less than 1. So it's a very small amount of transplants if you look at the overall population. Poor transplant rates is again mainly due to the poor socioeconomic status, and also we don't have a very robust cadaveric transplant program, especially a nationwide program doesn't exist. It's further compounded by rising diabetic and hypertensive populations. We will have more number of ESRD patients adding the pool every year. This data from India shows that majority of the transplants in India are from the live deceased donors, live donors, and deceased donors are a very small population. So we need to go ahead with this. We know that kidney transplant is the treatment modality of choice for kidney failure patients. Many of the slides have already been showing about why it is beneficial. But there is a small risk of patients who can return into graft failure, and they may need dialysis again in the future. And there is an added risk to people who are already would have been a naive dialysis patient. So we also have to look at this particular subset of patients, and this is more in case of patients who are undergoing an ECD in ECD donor transplant programs. Therefore, we have to personalize the use of deceased donors for individuals who are waitlisted on kidney transplant candidates, and the appropriate time and the patient selection is challenging. A study published in 2009 by Ojo et al. Showed that the MKD kidney, the marginal disease kidney, which is now the ECD kidneys, have a poorer graft function compared to the standard criteria donors. And he also showed that it took a double time for these patients to come into a point where they were surviving more than the dialysis patients, almost a matter of around 6 months compared to 3 months taken for live kidney patients to achieve the survival advantage that that they would have achieved above and over the dialysis program. But interesting thing is that both the curves fall below the dialysis program. That means in both the cases, patients do survive better than the dialysis waitlisted patients. So the problem with these data resulted in a lot of these kidneys being discarded. So in 2002, the data showed that up to 50% of kidneys recovered from donor over the age of 60 was discarded in the US. The authors also concluded that if we had included these patients in some form in the transplant program, a potential increase of up to 38% in the total number of donors per million population could have been achieved. And come to 2018, Another study by Mohan et al. Showed that still the organ discard rates were up to 17 to 20%. Some of these patients did have one of the kidney transplanted, and when they followed up this patient, they had a better, more than 90% death censored graft survival at the end of 1 year. So these kidneys, the patient who had received the other kidney which was discarded, they were still doing better than some of the dialysis patients. So although many of the studies showed that the ECD kidney transplantation confirms low allograft survival rates, they had improved survival with matched dialysis-treated patients. And on the basis of the SRTR data, long-term mortality among ECD transplant patient recipient was around 17% lower compared with recipients who did not accept such type of kidneys. But this survival advantage only happened after a period of around 3.5 years, according to this data. And majority of these patients would have been patients who would have been in a waiting time for transplant for up to more than 4 years. So these patients had a definite benefit over the patients who did not receive such kidneys. Both the allograft and recipient survivals are shortened when the ECD kidneys are used for transplantation. Even though the ECD kidney transplantation is superior to dialysis therapy, but the overall outcome is poorer as compared to the standard criteria donor. And so we have to weigh this risk when we are considering these organs for transplantation. So one of the reviews showed that on an average, the recipients of the extended criteria donor transplant programs lived around 5 years longer than transplant candidates who would have remained on dialysis. Whereas the ideal, the SCD, the standard criteria donor recipients had a 13-year survival benefit. Obviously, they were doing better, but the ECD patients were doing better compared to those on dialysis, and they had a 5-year gain in the lifespan compared to these patients. So in 2002, one group suggested that the ECD kidney should be preferentially directed towards candidates who were more than 60 years, diabetics who were more than 40 years, who had poor vascular access, and candidates whose waiting time on the transplant list would have exceeded more than that of a transplant, of an ECD transplant. So basically, this group identified candidates who had the higher risk of mortality on dialysis and are therefore least likely to survive the requisite wait for a standard organ. So this is how we have to select these patients and counsel these patients if we are to suggest them to go ahead with an ECD transplant for themselves. So this is a proposed algorithm, a very nice algorithm where retransplant patients, those with less than 40 are immediately excluded from the ECD program. They should wait for a standard criteria donor. If they are more than 40 and if the cause of ESRD is not diabetic nephropathy, then we have to see how long they would have to wait for a deceased donor program. If the wait is more than 4 years, and then this patient should go ahead for an ECD program. Otherwise, they should still wait for a standard criteria donor. If the age is more than 40, or if the already age is more than 60, or more than 40 if they are diabetics, then they should go for a expanded criteria donor, because they will not survive that long on dialysis if they are waiting on that deceased donor list. So how to choose the ECD kidneys? This is one brief strategy. First, we modify the allocation rules for ECD kidneys to match an appropriate recipient for an appropriate kidney, which I have already elaborated. Some ways to do it are by lowering the cold ischemia time. Pulsatile perfusion preservation, although is quite controversial, but can be tried. Pre-implantation kidney biopsy, which I will be talking a few slides. Simultaneous dual ECD kidney transplants, restricting use of these kidneys in patients who have low immunological risk, and applying individualized regimens of immunosuppressive therapy. So Karpinski et al. Had actually done a pre-transplant biopsies in some studies, and he was the pioneer. After that, Remuzi took over, and he proposed this few parameters on the biopsy to see whether these kidneys can be taken. It basically sees the 4 compartments of the kidney: glomerular sclerosis, tubular atrophy, fibrosis, interstitial fibrosis, and arterial narrowing. There are 12 points, 1 point for each, so 0 to 12. So if the final grade is less than 3, then the kidney is okay for a single kidney transplant. If it's between 4 to 6, since the nephron number is less, so he proposed that both the kidney can be en bloc transplanted in the form of a dual kidney transplant. Or if it is more than 7, then you reject that kidney because it's not going to survive anyways. So using this, he published a paper in NEJM in 2006 where he showed that if, in elderly donors especially, if it is more than 60 and he had done a biopsy to see whether kidneys are good, then the survival was equally good enough in patients who are not having biopsy and those who were receiving, who were less than 60 years old. So it gave an advantage over the other group. And if they were both more than 60 years, Then if they had a biopsy to see whether the organs are acceptable, there was a distinct graft survival advantage. So biopsy works. And looking at the death and progression to dialysis in the same study, he showed that doing a biopsy and choosing kidney gives us a definite death and survival and progression to dialysis advantages in patients who are chosen kidney in that way. So doing a biopsy in a resource-limited setting is very difficult. It will increase the cold ischemia time. It will take a long time for biopsy to be reported. There is a variation in the biopsy reporting patterns all over the country. So they came ahead with the KDPI, the Kidney Donor Profile Index. It has been discussed already in living transplant ECD choice also. But in the expanded criteria donor, the KDPI is derived from KDRI, and it helped to improve the prediction of the graft outcomes. It used 10 Groner criteria instead of 4, so there was more nuanced prediction. Again, percentile from 0 to 10 with 10% for each parameter. And more than 85 KDPI is roughly equal to an ECD kidney. So these are the 10 parameters which were already discussed before. And since there's less time, I will come to the management of the ECD recipients directly. So choice of immunosuppression is important in patients who are undergoing an ECD transplant program. You do an induction with the antithymocyte globulin. There are studies which show that IL-2 receptor inhibition is not very good in ECD transplants. Reduce the overall immunosuppression, especially in elderly patients, because they are at risk of development of immunosuppression-related problems in late age, malignancy, and all the infection and all the things. Reduce the CNI exposure, low dose of immunosuppression, target a CNI dose of around 25 to 50%. Delayed introduction regimens have been tried. CNF regimens based on MMF and steroids with ATG induction also have been tried. Belatacept was used to show that in one of the RCTs that it did have a benefit if we cut off the cyclosporin from the regimen. And maybe cyclosporin is not very good in these patients, so lower dose is preferable or not at all. And CNI-free mTOR inhibitor-based regimens have also been tried, but again, the data is quite poor whenever the mTOR inhibitors come into picture. In summary, we need to explore harvesting ECD kidneys to increase the number of transplant and to decrease the patients waitlisted on a deceased donor program. Outcome of ECD kidneys are inferior to the standard criteria ones, so the transplant process needs to be individualized to get the best out of the kidney that would have been discarded. And immunosuppressive therapies are still controversial, but further studies need to design the best protocol. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gole, for your lucid presentation. So since we don't have time for any questions, so I close the session.